Hi, I'm Rob, and in this short automated training video, we're talking about campaigns and sequences inside campaigns in Ontraport. So inside any Ontraport campaign, you have the functionality of being able to add your contacts or your records to other campaigns and other sequences as you're going. And you do that simply by clicking on a plus and either adding them to another campaign like this, or by adding them if you have the sequence functionality enabled, and not all accounts have sequences added by default, by adding them to a sequence. Now this is actually really critical because when a contact gets added to an external campaign, that Ontraport actually call this a nested campaign because it's nested inside another campaign. That contact, for example, is coming down through this flow, hits this particular campaign point, and basically gets paused here until inside this particular campaign they reach an end point. So if I were to go and look inside that campaign, the person, that record, needs to actually go through that entire campaign and either reach an end point or an exit point, at which point they get returned here into this campaign and will continue. So this is a challenge when you come to designing your campaigns, because you don't want necessarily contacts getting stuck at places where it's not intended. The right way to handle it is the way that I've designed this below, which is using a fork. So in this case, I actually want to add this contact to two separate sequences. If I had this as a linear action, so one sequence under the other, firstly this contact would have to run down, hit this first sequence, fully complete that sequence before they get added to the next sequence. In fact, what I want to do is simultaneously add them to two sequences, and so I use this campaign element, which is called a fork, and that contact is then simultaneously added to the two sequences at once. So they will be progressing through two sequences, or it might be two separate campaigns, and eventually they'll pop out the bottom and they'll end up on this wait. So a very important piece of campaign building, ensuring that if you're using nested campaigns, you're using nested sequences, that you consider whether or not you want that contact progressing through this initial campaign, irrespective of what happens on the external campaign.